Hi, today I'd like to talk about how I try to create the best looking YouTube videos and tutorials while spending the least amount of money possible on tech and gear and software. So you've probably seen videos like this, high profile YouTubers giving a tour of their fancy recording studio with studio quality mics, expensive DSLR cameras, movie set lighting, soundproofing, and so on. Oh, and of course, Netflix documentary quality level of editing and After Effects and so on. This video is not like this. On the other end, there are videos shot on the built-in webcam with sound sounding like the presenter is sitting at a busy train station, endlessly rambling with no editing at all, uploaded at a grainy 75p or less. I think the record is 2014 for this one.
Live from WGNO-TV New Orleans.
This is what I'm trying to get away from. I'm actually trying to find out if there's a middle ground between the two, and if it's possible to get fairly close to the first one without spending lots of money on expensive technology and software. And my hope is, since it's early 2024, that thanks to AI, the software has gotten so good that it removes a lot of the shortcomings of bad technology and cheaper tech. And of course, it goes without saying that the content of the video matters a great deal as well. We've all watched really fancy, glossy videos and gotten no value from them at all. But today, I want to focus on production quality only. So what am I currently working with? Let's start with the audio. So I'm currently sitting in my home office, as you can see, and there is no sound optimization on the walls at all. So I need a mic that's good enough to record audio that I can then enhance with AI to get decent enough sound. I started using the built-in mic of my M1 MacBook Air, but that was horrible, especially since I do a lot of tutorials and you could hear me typing on the keyboard. Unacceptable. Then I tried using the mic from my iPhone 14 Pro. That was a little bit better, but not where I wanted to be. And finally, I got a little pair of these wireless lapel mics, and these work pretty good. They cost around 50 euros. You can get them cheaper, and they work well enough. Unfortunately, they don't connect directly via Bluetooth to the phone or the Mac. You have to get a little dongle to attach to the phone. So that's audio recording settled, but how do I enhance it? I tried several AI enhancers. CapCut has one built in, but it always sounded a bit metallic when I did the enhancing. I had the same experience with this studio sound feature of Descript, my favorite editing tool, which I'm going to come to later. But finally, I settled on this, and this is a free tool by Adobe, believe it or not. It's called Adobe Podcast Enhance. And all it does is it enhances speech. And let me show you an example. So this is the sound sample without enhancing.
I'm in a conference room with the window open, and it's pretty echoey in here too. Not the best place to record audio. Yet with enhanced speech, all of the background noise and echo is gone.
And this is the same clip with the audio enhancement turned on.
I'm in a conference room with the window open, and it's pretty echoey in here too. Not the best place to record audio. Yet with enhanced speech, all of the background noise and echo is gone, as if I recorded this in a professional studio.
All the background noise is gone, even dog barking gets eliminated, ambulance noises and so on. Really. And for a short while, I tried to go even further. I experimented with an 11 Labs voice clone of myself, and my idea was to synthesize the video script into English. This worked pretty well. It even got rid of my Arnold Schwarzenegger-like accent, but I found it very difficult to align the new voice with the video I was shooting. I would have to lip sync it basically, and that was beyond my editing skills. So I stepped away from that idea. So unfortunately, you're stuck with my accent for the time being. Now on to video. My 2020 MacBook Air has an M1 chip and an upgraded 1080p webcam. That's barely good enough for doing video calls and would suffice for the times when I'm just a little talking head bubble in the corner somewhere, but I find it's not acceptable for full screen intro shots like this one. So I'm currently using the front-facing cameras of my iPhone 14 Pro, and that works well enough. I set the iPhone up on a cheap stand like this, so I can slightly adjust the position of the camera where I need it to be. And that works pretty well. The only problem is if I move my desk, it starts to wobble, so I need to attach the arm to the wall somehow. As for lighting, I have a large window over here, which brings in natural light. I have two big displays sitting in front of me. I use a cheap ring light to the front right of me. And on the top of the ceiling, I have one of these Nanoleaf essential bulbs. Both of these things I can use to adjust the color temperature of the room and get a warmer artificial lighting in here if I need. These smart light bulbs are actually kind of cool. You can get a set of 3 of these for around 50 euros, and they play nice with HomeKit. So you can use them as light alarm clocks, change the color temperature of any room from the HomeKit app. The kids love to play around with those. I'll link all the gear I mentioned in the description below. Now, what about the software? Let's start about the screen recording. It was important to me to capture the screen in full resolution, ideally in 4K, because I'm doing a lot of tutorials. But I ran into a bottleneck because my MacBook only has 8 gigs of RAM, and most screen recording software out there can't do full screen resolution recording with only 8 gigs of RAM. So I started out using QuickTime, which couldn't record myself and the screen at the same time. Loom is the obvious choice, which most people use, but I struggled to get high quality video with this. Then I tried a few other solutions, preferably cheap ones, like Zappy by Zapier, for example, and ScreenRack.com. Both of these I wasn't really happy with. The quality wasn't there. They crashed, which is an absolute no-go if you're recording this and having to try all over again. And I already mentioned that Descript is my favorite editing software, and it has a recording feature, but unfortunately, that doesn't work well on my Mac either. That would have been my preferred choice, honestly, to just record everything in Descript and edit it immediately afterwards. But luckily, I then discovered Tella. And Tella is fantastic for several reasons. So firstly, it can screen record at 4K full resolution, which makes my screencast looks great. It works a lot like Loom, in that it allows you to automatically share videos quickly and easily. Everything is recorded into the cloud automatically as you record. And unlike Loom, it offers several easy-to-use editing options that are perfectly geared towards totally unexperienced editors like myself. I'll probably do a full video on Tella soon, so here are just a few of the highlights. It lets me really easily change the layout of the video. If I want to go from me in full front and center to just me as a little head in a corner somewhere, that's just one click away between the two things. It even adds fancy transitions between the two. It lets me switch out the background of each shot as well. I can pick from a range of options or add my own. I could even add animated backgrounds. And lastly, and most importantly, it works reliably and lets me download high quality videos for further editing. Which brings me to the downside of Tella. It has an editing feature that lets you split and trim clips, but it's very basic. And I much prefer the text-based editing of Descript. In fact, the text-based editing of Descript is why I got into YouTube in the first place. I always dreaded video editing. I never understood how iMovie really worked. I fumbled around in CapCut a few times. The text-based editing of Descript is really fantastic. You upload a video into Descript, it is transcribed automatically, and you can just edit the transcript on the left here like you would a Word document. So if I don't need this sentence here, I can just eliminate it. And it's immediately cut out from the video. Even works with single words, filler words, and so on. So Filmora by Wondershare does something similar. They have something called AI text-based editing. I tried it out, but I found the transcription already to be quite bad and wasn't convinced really by the whole product. The CapCut has a feature where it lets you see where your words are on the timeline, so you have an easier time of splitting things up. And finally, I found Riverside that seems to offer a similar text-based editing feature, but I haven't given this a try yet. Both Riverside and Descript have their roots in podcast editing, with video being added later on, and I think it shows. Also, both of these probably work better on a more powerful machine than I currently using. So both Descript and Tella are around $15 a month. You can get Descript cheaper if you switch to annual billing. And if you'd like to use Tella, you can save 30% if you use the code in my description when you sign up. That would also support the channel a little bit, so it would be very much appreciated. Thank you. So that's my workflow. I record video and screen with my iPhone and Tella. Then I do layouting, a little bit of After Effects in Tella, and some rough editing and trimming. Then I export everything from Tella into Descript, where I use the fantastic text-based editing to get the final cut. Then I upload it into CapCut to separate the video from the audio track. I could probably do this in Descript as well, but I find it easier in CapCut. I then take the audio track only and run it through the Adobe podcasting tool to enhance the audio, upload that back into CapCut for final assembly, and export the final video file. For the YouTube covers, I just go into Canva and whip something up. I decided to go very basic with these and might improve them over time, but I think for the beginning, they'll do nicely. And then finally, I take the final transcript from Descript, run that through ChatGPT to generate the video description. So that's my as cheap as possible video setup going into 2024. I'd love to know what you think and what you use. Maybe you want to leave this in the comments. I'd be happy to hear from you and catch you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.